Okay. All right, here we are again with our program Here and Now, interviewing masters of the Los Angeles improvising scene. Today, we have Mr. Bobby Bradford from Mississippi. So he's going to regale us with some stories. I'm going to ask a question or two and sit back and enjoy. All right, Mr. Bradford, thank you for being here up in Altadena. We're actually neighbors here, and they call us mountain folk in Altadena. I've been told when I first moved here. I was told we kind of different up here. But I imagine that you were told you were kind of different long before that. So why don't you start out by telling us the early beginnings? I know you were born in Cleveland, Mississippi. Correct?
Right.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I've been to Cleveland, Mississippi. It was quite a excursion, and you told me some things about it before I went.
Yes, it's a growing city now. I haven't been back since I left in 1944.
1944.
And I've been saying I was going to go back. My wife said, "Why don't you go back?" And if I put it off much longer, it'll be too late.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of going back.
I'd go back if I were you. I enjoyed it.
Well, I've seen where in the New York Times 2-3 months back, some guy from New York has opened up what will amount to a Jewish deli.
Really?
In Cleveland, Mississippi. Business thrives.
Mm.
You know, and so
that's kind of shocking.
Oh yeah.
But they do like to eat there.
Oh yeah.
Eating is a big thing in Cleveland.
Sure. Eating is a big thing in Mississippi. Food is.
Yeah. So you left in 1944. How old were you?
11.
11.
Right.
Okay, so you.
No, 10. 10.
10.
Going on 11. Yeah.
So when you're in Cleveland, were you was your family like rural or?
Well, we lived in a part of town where the famous highway that goes through there, I think it's Highway 52, was about half mile from my house. And on the other side of the highway was cotton fields. That's how close we were.
Yeah, Mississippi snow.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I picked cotton as a kid. Of course, as soon as you're big enough to put a sack on your shoulder and put it through the fields, you start going.
Big cotton.
Yeah.
It's hard work, right?
Well, I mean, once you're responsible for producing so many pounds a day, as a little kid, they break you in by taking you because they want to leave you home.
Yeah.
So you go with the adults, and you may rip around and run and play while you're 5, 6 years old because you can't pick enough cotton to be a mountain anything.
Yeah.
But by the time you're about 9, you can probably gather about 50 pounds of cotton. You see, where a really good adult picker, she can pick about 150. But for that 50 that you did pick, you got paid, and you got into the swing of what was waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the rural area began about a half mile from my house.
Yeah.
On my street now was just regular little residential houses, one next to each other. On either side, there was a Methodist church right across from my house that we didn't go to because we were Baptists, and our church was like in another direction, maybe a mile from where we lived.
Yeah.
But this was totally residential, they say. The guys on the street who worked on the railroad, who were gone all the time, lived on my street. And people who worked on a regular basis for whites, you know, doing day work. Other people who were working in the lumber yard, who worked as auto mechanics, whatever, things like that, lived on the street. There were no farmers as such on my street, but one street over there was a guy who had cotton fields, but he lived on the next street, which meant he had to get up and put his wagons and all that stuff together to go to where his cotton was. But the rural area was right there.
When you say wagons, you're talking about beast-drawn vehicles?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mules, which is the biggie. Mules. But you see, growing up as a kid, you saw more mules than you did horses. Because on the farm, you see, that's a perfect animal for farm work. Strong. What is it? Drought resistant or whatever that word that applies to them. Less expensive than horses, except that you had to go to a special place to get them, you know, because I didn't realize at the time when I was a kid that mules are sterile, aren't
they don't produce themselves.
So you have to go to this place that takes the jackass and the mare.
Yeah.
And but they were abundant. So the farm, this guy had two of them. One called Rocky, and another one called Brownie. And he let me, after he hooked him up, he let me get on Brownie's back once she was hooked up to the wagon and ride over to the cotton field, mounted on the back of the mule. But he said, you stay away from Rock. This was a mule that was really
kind of vicious.
Didn't like people. The only guy who could handle him was him. You know, they'll bite you.
They'll bite, they'll kick.
Oh yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
Unless this Brownie was just really tame. I could feed her, you know, apples or something. But he said, you stay away from Rocky.
Okay. I want to explore the cotton a little bit more.
Okay.
In that I'm almost 60 now, I'm 59. Now, when I was a kid, and actually even up until my late 20s and 30s, I'd run into black men older than me, especially when I was a kid. And at some point in the relationship, this would happen at the barbershop or just anywhere. And when it happened when I was an adult, I was working with a guy. I was cooking and I was working one of the waiters, you know, and they'd say to me, and it would come out of the blue sometimes. They'd say to me, you ain't never picked cotton, have you? And it was kind of like wasn't a real put down, but it was in a way of letting me know that there's parts of life that I don't know about, or rites of passage.
Oh yes.
That one no longer has to deal with.
I was about to say that he meant that you have a rite of passage there. You never have taken that test or have undergone that. Sure.
Yeah.
Which meant in many ways you haven't dealt with just the environment of picking cotton where somebody's in charge.
Yeah.
And you're obliged, depending on your family or who hired you, to pick if you're an adult male, 150 pounds of cotton.
Yeah. Which
means I mean, there's no BSing. You put that long 12 or 14-foot sack on your shoulder, man, and you're picking these little powder puffs all day from as soon as the crack of light so you can see it until it's just so dark you can't pick the cotton.
Yeah.
And 2 or 3 times during the day, somebody shouts, "Oh, it's time to come up and weigh what you have." And they had this the scale. It's like this thing that turns like that, you know. And it's got this little balance peat, they call it, where you put it on and push it back like that and weigh your cotton that's set up in the field. And whatever you weigh up to, the guys keeping books on that. And I forget now what they paid you for 150 pounds of cotton, but you made like $4 if you really put it down and really pushed on it. But now you see, if you were in prison where you had to pick cotton, those guys would hire the people in prison often to come and pick cotton. You got a guy riding them down the field out on a horse, man. That's serious, right? Don't even think about running, right? He's got this Winchester and the whole bit. But as a kid, I liked the idea of going and doing something where they paid me, and when I got home, I could put my money in a little. I remember there used to be a company that made something called Cod's liver pills.
I remember those.
Cod liver.
Yeah.
And it came in a little red tin.
Yeah.
And I had a little red tin, so for my 50 pounds that I picked, I might have gotten 75 cents. 6 bits, and I came home. My mom let me put that in my little.
So your folks let you keep that money?
Oh yeah.
That's not always the case.
Oh yeah. Now if it was like if I had gotten $3 now, you wouldn't get to keep all of that. But until I got big enough so that I was, you know, like at age 10, I was expected to pick 60, 70 pounds of cotton. Well, if that was $1.50, I didn't get to keep all of that. But I remember this little red tin that somebody had used cod liver pills, and that's why I kept my little money in my. And it was kind of thing that you save this because you're going to want to do this at Christmas or your birthday or whatever. At the beginning of what money is about. You know. But I remember hearing, what's his name now, Lead Belly. Lead Belly would sing this song that said, "Me and my wife can pick a bale of cotton. Me and my wife can pick a bale a day. Me and my wife can pick a bale of cotton." And then you go, "Jump down, Johnny Round." Now, that's 500 pounds. Now, some really outlandish guy could pick 300 pounds. One of those little athletic guys that would be down there on his knees with knee pads on, picking from 2 rows rather than 1. He's going like this. But see, that was very competitive. But now I can't imagine him and his wife, but it just on the outside it's possible because some of the women were strong. And this song was, "Me and my wife can pick a bale of cotton. Me and my wife can pick a bale a day." You know him. He's famous folk singer, blues singer. But that's going some, man. 500 pounds. But I got to go to this guy when they put all the cotton in the wagon.
Yes.
I got to go to the gin.
The cotton gin, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you pull the wagon in under this thing. This guy got this big hose, like a vacuum cleaner hose. It's metal, but it's got a joint of canvas or leather. And he goes around in the wagon sucking up the cotton.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can get to go in a gin where it's deafening. And hear all these wheels are running and you can't hear anybody talking, they're screaming. That's separating the cotton from the little seeds inside.
Yeah, right.
The fluff goes this way and the seeds go that way.
Yeah, it revolutionized the industry.
Oh,
yeah.
Of course. That process before was just hand.
Yeah.
And of course you're going to get all that oil from the seed.
Yeah.
And then they're going to pack this other into a big bale.
Yeah.
With these strips of tin around it and like a gunny sack in between.
Burlap.
Yeah.
Burlap. Yeah.
I found that really just amazing. Just the machinery and all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, at that point, the only access at that point I had to music is I used to go to an itinerant music teacher who would come to our little town. I don't know if it was once a month or twice a month. Miss Felder. Her initials were B.O., Miss B.O. Felder. Well, the joke was B.O. meant body odor.
Yeah.
You know that one too.
Yeah.
When they were selling those god-awful deodorants and those made some kind of cream that would kill a horse. And we didn't know any better, all that zinc in it. They said, is B.O. coming to town today? My mother said, if you ever say that again, I'm going to really tan your hide.
Well, there you go.
But I went to her for my piano lessons.
Was she black?
No, yeah, she was black. She was from the town nearby. There's an all-black town about 18 or 19 miles from Cleveland called Mound Bayou. All black town after the Civil War. Still is to this day.
I may have been there. You know, when I flew into Memphis and I rented a vehicle.
Right.
And I took the 2-lane highway down there.
Oh, yeah.
And I went through some all black towns.
Yeah, there are not many. This one.
No. And there are only like 200 people, 150 people.
Now this one had the only black hospital within, I don't know how far. You'd have to go to Jackson to find another. But this had a hospital of doctors who had either gone to Howard or to Meharry, you know, licensed physicians. And as I remember now, in the town in Cleveland, there were no black professionals as such, like dentist, doctor, lawyer, any of that. The closest thing you'd ever come to a doctor was the white doctor who was willing to come to the black community and service.
Yeah.
You know, black people. In fact, I remember I was delivered in the mother. It was a white doctor. I can't remember his name now, but he had no problem with coming into the black community. You know, they're always guys who are real physicians. Delane was his name.
Delane.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Someone's at the door.
Right.
Let me deal with this. I'll get rid of them quick. You
Okay.
can just talk if you want.
Right.
This has never happened on our program before.
It's okay.
All right.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hello.
My name is Demond Taylor.
Hello, Demond.
Sir, hi there.
I don't have a lot of time. I'm doing an interview right now.
Okay, I'll be less than 2 minutes and I'll be out of here.
I need you to do it in like 5 seconds.
I can't do that. God bless.
Okay. Thank you.
God bless you.
That's good. Well, at least you didn't argue.
It was right. He knows I'll be wasting my time.
Yeah.
Might as well go on.
Well, some of them argue.
I know, and I say something.
And one of them I have to run down the street.
Well, I said to this guy, I am closing the door.
Yeah.
Now, whatever happens, son, no offense. I don't want to hear what it is. I'm not buying anything, blah, blah, blah. And I am closing the door.
Yeah.
Like I've said to some people, I am hanging up now.
Yes.
And shortly you will hear, you know.
Exactly, yeah. You have to be direct.
Well, yeah, because I get 4 or 5 a day. I'm on a busy street there, that foot traffic, you know.
Now, I don't want to belabor this cotton thing too long,
No,
but I will say,
I find it fascinating. When I look back on it, you know, I hear these people. Let's see if I can imitate this guy. You heard me do this, but this guy says, and I never understood exactly what it was, but it's some kind of field holler. He says, hey, look here, man, don't you know, your neck won't hold and your back won't go. And whatever that meant, something about bending over, doing that, getting that cotton, man. Because I heard them sing it when they were working on the railroad with these big bars while they were getting ready to change a piece of track.
Yeah.
And one guy was the caller, and 5 or 6 men are putting that beam under there to pull those spikes up, where you can replace that track, and he'd say, yeah, look here, man. And I love it, man. It's just, you know, sometimes in my classes at Pomona College, I got a class that sometimes it may be completely white, And so I'm standing in front of class and I'll say, hey, look here, man. And I'll just pick one and say, let me hear you say that. Hey. And he said, hey. I said, but now you.
So you're working.
Yeah, I said, if you would like to do that, you can.
Yeah.
This is not esoteric.
Yeah.
You got to get in the mirror and look at yourself. It's like you try to learn how to do a French vowel.
Yeah.
It's like doing that.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's where the music comes from. You know, I did a piece, the cotton thing, I did a piece that required me I ended up buying a cotton bag, a cotton picking bag.
Oh, wow.
And I found it on eBay.
Sack.
A sack.
Right.
A sack. And just having it gives you a total other sense of reality.
First of all, it's a hell of a piece of cotton canvas.
Yes.
That's a fabric band.
It'll last forever.
100 years.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
serious fabric.
Lasts
They
forever.
don't have time to fool around.
Yeah. And it's long.
Oh, yeah. I had a little shorty, but the big one for the adult males is like 12, 14 feet.
Yeah.
Dragging behind.
Yeah. This was like that. This was like that. Yeah. Okay, well, you know, now just another little thing about Cleveland. Now, when I was there, of course, it was, you know, in this century, the 21st century.
Right.
So the river was not far away.
Well, see, the closest river there would have been the Sunflower, not the Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to go all the way to Greenville to get to the Mississippi. That was a little farther away.
Yeah.
But the river nearby was pretty good size.
And I didn't see that river, the Greenville. I went to the Mississippi, but in a car, it took about 45 minutes.
From where?
From
where?
Cleveland. Took 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because as I remember now, the closest I remember going,
Mm-hmm.
because it's all kind of muddy in my, but the closest river that was like not far away that we went to fish,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned to seine with this old guy. They had me holding the other end of this net.
Uh-huh.
We get off in the room and we just wade back toward the shore. He's holding one end, I'm holding the other, and the water's up to my neck.
Yeah.
And we
I haven't heard that word in a long time. Sane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we pull out, and we got it every now and then. We have a catfish, or we have some crawdad.
Crawdads.
Yeah, stuff like that, you know, frog and all.
Uh-huh.
I don't think I'd said that word myself, man.
Yeah. I mean, we don't think of it in our language,
No.
using that, you know. Yeah. So what does that mean? Drag the net or?
Just drag it. Just
Yeah.
drag it. You drag it as low as you can get it.
Uh-huh.
Because I actually think it may be just over the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Because that's where you'd expect to get,
Yeah.
you know, the fish who live down there. He
Yeah.
crud.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't tall enough, you know, for it to be.
Yeah.
The water was right up here, man. And this is an adult. And come on, Bobby. Come on, you can do it.
You didn't have to worry about a catfish biting you?
Oh, no. They don't.
They
They
don't.
say that little.
They got that
Yeah,
sharp.
if you grab it and try to hold him, he might
Yeah.
give you that little thing. But
Mhm.
in the net, they're not going to swim up to you and,
Yeah.
oh, they're trying to get away, man, because they know
Uh-huh.
they're dinner.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
What a delicacy, though, man. See, now, people who worked nearby,
Mm-hmm.
who lived on my street,
Yeah.
they came home for lunch.
Uh-huh.
Now, see, lunch was a big meal,
Yeah.
right?
That was
That was dinner.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was dinner.
Dinner, then
That's
supper later.
And the evening meal and supper.
Supper.
So they come home. The guy next to me was a mechanic. Gus Manning was his name. His wife sometimes 2 or 3 days a week would have fresh, had been breaded in that cornmeal over the catfish.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know it's not good for you, but cooked and all that whole while. But
Well, if you cook it at the right temperature, it's not an issue.
I loved it, man. At this
Yeah.
point now, I'm already thinking about it. I'm getting off on it now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, catfish is very tasty.
Oh, yeah.
Put it in some buttermilk to chill it out a little bit.
Yeah,
You know.
Here we go. We can really go
Yeah,
to another
there we
place.
go. Well, you know, part of my thing in Cleveland was eating.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I went there for a music thing, but I couldn't eat all the food I needed to eat. Sometimes I just order it,
Yeah, just to see
eat what
it
I
was.
could,
Right.
you know, and leave. Apologize, tell them I loved it, but
I see
couldn't eat
whites
it.
and blacks in Mississippi. They're serious cooks.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just black people.
Yeah.
The white people have a handle on most of it too. There's some things that you can expect a black family would do that whites didn't do.
Right.
You know, generally and traditionally, that just came from the unavailability of things for blacks, where they had to cut corners,
Yeah.
and they had to make do with something like you.
Mhm.
With pigtails, black people make it just a delicacy out of that, but it's fish for me.
So did you eat chitlins?
Oh, you kidding? I ordered chitlins at restaurants in New York in the 60s. There was
Uh-huh.
a place you could go all the way up in Harlem, or there was a place in Greenwich Village that's somebody's, you know, soul food place.
Yeah.
And on it, and I would go there, man, and we'd order these chitlins, and they have the Tabasco right there, or
Uh-huh.
something similar to Red Rooster.
Yeah.
and we'd have the chitlins in the middle of us. He and I and a couple other guys mentioned, oh, it's like old home.
Boiled or fried? Or either?
These were cooked, they weren't fried.
Uh-huh.
Now, I like them better when they, whatever the other thing is, where they just sort of.
They boil them.
Yeah, they boil them like that.
Yeah.
My mom made them every so
And
often.
then sometimes they'll bake them afterwards. Yeah. Did you ever have to clean them?
No, but I smelled it when my mom was
Yeah.
in there cleaning them, but
Yeah.
that didn't bother me a bit.
It really didn't?
No,
That still bothers me.
no, I didn't. I mean, I knew what it was. You know what part of the pig it came
Yeah.
from and all.
Yeah.
But you say, hey man, there's lots of places where other stuff passed through that. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can hang with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. So you took music lessons in Cleveland, but you hadn't started the trumpet.
Oh
then
no,
yet.
I didn't start the trumpet until I was about 14 when my family had moved to Texas,
Where in Texas?
Dallas.
Dallas.
But now that we took the circuitous route to Dallas.
Uh-huh.
When my mother and my older brother Eugene, we left Mississippi when my mother and my biological father became estranged somewhat, to the extent that he had left Cleveland to go to Tulsa, Oklahoma to work for Douglas Aircraft. So he was doing the war. My father was too young for the other war and too old
For the next one. Yeah.
So he and the word
Lucky guy in some ways.
Huh?
Lucky guy in some ways.
Yeah, you could say that, even though he said, I
Yeah.
wanted to have gone, be in the service.
Yeah.
You know, that was a career for us for a lot of
Yes.
in the military.
Yes.
If you got in there and you knew how to really, you could
Go
make a life out of it.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so he went, the word is out, I don't know whether it was in the newspaper or it's just rumor, that Douglas Aircraft was hiring you and didn't have anything to do with what color you were. And so he went to Tulsa. Well, somehow in the process, this is my biological father, he and my mother somehow became estranged, and they were divorced, and my mother married another guy. And so we came to California when we left Mississippi by car. My older brother Eugene, my older brother, he's almost 3 years older than me. My mother and my stepfather left Mississippi in an old maroon Pontiac, I remember it. And we drove to Los Angeles. Came through.
Really, like through a southern route?
Oh
or?
yeah, right through all the bad stuff, and then we thought when we got into Arizona, New Mexico, things would get, they were somewhat better.
Yeah.
But now you're gonna love
They can be worse. Though.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm gonna tell you one story. We were in, I think it was Arizona. But it could have been New Mexico. And my mother was very fair-skinned. What people in the South would tell you, she a Creole. But you see, if you knew she was a black woman, but very, very fair.
Yeah.
And my brother, even though my father, my biological father, was a black man, my brother and I came out sort of in the middle there someplace.
Yeah.
But he was very fair too and had what we called in those days, he had good hair.
Yes.
So we stopped, we're going to go into a restaurant. So my mother and my brother went in first for whatever reason. And my stepfather and I were dragging behind. So they were already in the restaurant seated. We come in and the guy's door says, we don't serve colored here. I said, hey, that's my mama right over there. I just burst out.
You didn't know, yeah.
Yeah, and he said, well, oh, no, you can't come in here.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember how we resolved that. It wasn't combative or anything, but maybe we went to another restaurant or something. But I remember that happening.
Yeah.
A particular event there. But see, I mean, I knew what the thing was about now, about you don't go into where white people go and all that. And I figured that wouldn't change until we got to Los Angeles, where it would be something really different like that. But I remember that, that made quite an impact on me.
Yeah.
But it took us whatever it takes for driving, because my mother didn't drive, so he had to do all the driving. Yeah. Which meant that we took like maybe 2 days or 3 days. Yeah. So he would drive all day, one day from 6 o'clock in the morning till about 8 at night.
That's pretty exhausting.
Oh yeah, but
and the roads weren't great then. There were not interstates.
Oh no, there's 2-lane roads, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get the interstate till Eisenhower's administration.
Exactly. Yeah.
But we came here, and what led us here was my stepfather had a brother here who had a couple of businesses. And he told him, why don't you come out here and help run one of the stores for me, whatever. And he thought, well, we'll just leave Mississippi and I'll run a grocery store and all. So we get here and it didn't work out like he thought. Then another brother.
What part of town did you come to?
Now, believe it or not, we stayed the first couple of days with his brother. Then we wound up living where Dodger Stadium is now.
Chavez Ravine.
Well, see, then in those days, they called that Bishop Heights.
Bishop Heights.
Sometimes they called it Palo Verde. But to get to where we were, you took the North Broadway streetcar
Uh-huh.
all the way out past Chinatown where the streetcar ended.
Yeah.
Then you got off and walked about 2 miles
Uh-huh.
under a train trestle,
Uh-huh.
right, to get
Yeah.
to where we lived. And the
Yeah.
houses set in the cliffs,
Yeah.
almost like Indian dwellings.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But these
Yes.
were houses, but poked into the cliffs. And we stayed there the fall of that year. You know, I'm getting back to this now. I'm getting mixed up on the year. This might have been 1945 instead of 44. So
Mhm.
maybe I was 11 when we left there. But we stayed there the fall semester,
Mhm.
and things weren't working out like he thought of the stepfather. Then he decides we're going to move to Gary, Indiana,
Gary, Indiana.
where he's got another brother who works at the steel mills. He said, I can get you on here, man, the steel
Yeah.
mills, which was good money if you were
Yeah.
physically able to deal with that.
Right.
We jump in the car and we drive cross country, the same car,
Yes.
right? Serious Pontiac.
Yeah.
But he was a mechanic, you know,
Mhm.
it ran like an Elgin watch, man.
Mhm.
So we get to Gary, Indiana, and that didn't work out quite so well. And he had somebody else that we wound up in Detroit.
Uh-huh.
So we spent the spring semester of 1940, this would be 46, had to be.
Mhm.
And I went to public, elementary school there in Detroit,
Yeah.
on the east side, like near Russell and Forest, kind of a tough part of town. And then whatever happened from that, we on the move again. And we wind up now, kind of semi-permanently,
Yeah.
in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to interrupt you again
Sure.
because you're making me think of some things. You've mentioned a couple industries that were significant for black people. You know, there's the military,
Right.
there's the steel mills. In my family, early on, it was like packing houses.
Oh yeah.
I had a lot of my people worked in packing houses, and that was one of the
See, that's a
traditional-
hard job.
Yeah,
It's intense.
Yeah.
You don't get you get like a 10-minute break.
Yeah.
And when you go back to work, man, it's just like you right there. There's no fooling
Yeah.
around. You're not hanging
Yeah.
out. It's like working on an assembly line. If you turn your
Mhm.
back for a minute, whatever you were monitoring falls on the floor.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yeah.
hard work.
yeah,
It's like the steel mills.
Yeah.
It's 120 degrees in there.
hmm
Some people could take it, some couldn't.
Yeah.
These guys who've been working in the cotton field, some of them could.
Yeah.
You know, but
Yeah.
well,
Well, because when folks moved north or west, that they had to go into those industries.
yeah, you took the
know?
job that people wouldn't hire anybody else. Even the locals didn't want to work there.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
but you
so
see,
you can make a good living if you could do it.
yeah, and you got a foothold.
Yeah.
You see the people who unlike Chicago, where people came from other parts of the South, Detroit was a real magnet for people from Mississippi
Yes.
for whatever reason.
hmm
And so the slang was that if so-and-so got to Detroit and got a foothold, man, now he's got a Greystone
Yeah.
and a deuce and a quarter.
Yeah.
That's that Buick.
Yeah.
Sitting in the
Who's
drive.
in a quarter?
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
Greystone and a deuce and a quarter. And them blues singers would say something,
Yeah.
I'm riding out, baby, and
Yeah.
I got a Greystone and a deuce and a
Yeah.
quarter.
Yeah.
I think Muddy Waters has got a song with that before he went to Chicago.
I didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of my folks went to Detroit.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a big contingent of the family
There was a
in
big
Detroit.
factory there that built fuse boxes.
Uh-huh.
Called Square D. And it must have been 90% black labor.
Uh-huh.
And during the war, lots of women worked there.
Yes.
So the brothers
Yeah.
weren't available.
Yeah.
And made good money. Because the place was notorious for these fires, so
Uh-huh.
that killed just lots of people, just like in Mississippi.
Yeah.
At the compress, where the air is full of this cotton
I see. Fibers.
fibers floating in the air.
Yeah. And it's very
That stuff's
combustible.
So combustible, man.
Yeah.
They have these fires, man, and 30 people are dead.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Uh-huh. Dangerous
dangerous work.
time. Yeah.
God said, "Well, you see what's happening?" He said, "But we're paying you $8 a day. Open the door.
Yeah.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
my chances. You know,
I see.
that's the whole story in there.
Mhm.
There's a doctorate in there for
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. Yes. And they've probably done it, somebody.
Oh yeah.
Possibly. Although, I don't know how well known it is now, just among the common person, those migrations
Right.
and those movements and the industries that people
Sure.
dealt with,
Leroy Jones talks about it. You know, he calls it as the big exodus
Yeah.
after the Civil War.
Yeah.
There's the big exodus during and after World War One,
Yes.
and there's another one surrounding World War Two.
Yeah.
And so we were talking about it in class one day, and I said, there's Exodus this, and I said, and this is a bunch of really smart kids. I said, what's the plural of Exodus? I don't even know. I'm just pulling their chain.
Yeah.
And one guy says, I know it's not Exoduses, Mr. Bradford. I said, I do too, son. But I don't know what it is. And so you can look it up if you want to.
Yes. Yes. I wonder what it would be.
It's probably Latin. You could guess that it'd be Exodi, but that'd be a guess.
It would be a guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
People think the multiple of hippopotamus is hippopotami, but it is not.
You see, that's just a wild, wrong guess.
Yeah.
Like I've had people say to me, well, you know, what is it? Pie a la mode. Oh, a la mode, that must mean that's French for ice cream.
Yeah.
So that's a good guess, but it's not. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good guess, but it's not. Okay, so you finally got to Texas. Land of watermelon and
Oh, yeah.
overcooked meat.
Lots of cotton picking there, too.
Yeah.
Though I never picked cotton in Texas. There were places there where people would gather on a certain corner during the cotton picking season.
Uh-huh.
And they'd pick them up in a truck and take them out to pick cotton.
Uh-huh.
Now, when
Day labor kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not like you worked regularly on the farm. The farm trucks would come in when at the peak of, which would be like September and October when they're picking. And people that wanted to go, about 4:30 in the morning to be on this corner.
And these were mostly black people, or was it mixed?
Oh, this is all black.
All black people.
All black people. The truck would come and everybody knows if you want to pick cotton sometime, the word is out.
Yeah.
Be on that corner, the guy's coming in a big truck, and you stand up in the back of it.
Yeah.
You know, a big truck with panels on the side. You stand up in it until you get to where you're going.
Yeah.
And if you're good at what you're doing, you can come back with, $15.
And they take their lunch with them, or with the company feed them?
Oh, yeah.
Taking in a bucket?
You take it. Well, a lot of people would bring this little thing, and you've probably seen this. It's a little tiered thing that people in the South especially use.
Yeah.
It's got, you might have your meat on the bottom.
Yeah.
Then it's almost like one of those Russian dolls.
Yeah.
Then you set another thing that fits on top of that, and it might have the greens and all.
Yeah.
And then another little thing in the top might have the cornbread. And it all fits in like those little stacked Easter.
I don't know that from our culture. I know that from Asian culture.
Well, see, there people in the South, everybody had one. You had a handle on it. You took it to the cotton field with you. I'm talking like in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, and see, the main meal of the day in the middle of the day, well, it was a big meal.
Yeah.
And you even got to kind of nap for about 30 minutes. That wasn't a quickie like we have a quick lunch, like a sandwich and a little salad.
Right.
That was a big meal. Because after you had your little doze off, you're going back and you're going to hit them, man, for the next 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you needed a serious meal in the middle of the day.
You know, my grandfolks, when I was a kid, they tell us, when they would take lunch to the field or wherever, they took it in a bucket. Well, a bucket mostly be like gravy and.
Well, now see, sometimes they call this a bucket.
A bucket also.
But this was a little thing that's kind of like
compartmentalized.
like porcelain.
Yeah.
I got a little dish now that belonged to my brother. His wife sent it some Christmas years ago. And he's been dead 10 years now. And I never gave it back to him, but it's that we've broken some of the little enamel off it.
Yeah.
You know those little, and that's what this thing was made of.
I see.
And I've seen those. I had a fellowship in Italy 15 years ago, and they provided lunch. This guy would come in the middle of the day, he'd knock on the door, go, pronto. And I totally didn't know what that would have been. And he'd leave one of these things there with veal, pasta, salad, and some kind of bread. He would just knock on the door, pronto, and leave it. And I'd open the door, man, he's going on to the other artists. We had this fellowship in Umbertide, South Central Italy, from some group.
South Central, that figures in your life a lot.
This place, though, is very near Perugia, where they have a big festival.
Yes.
In fact, the city of Perugia is only about 30 miles from where we were, but having no connection with what we were doing.
Yeah.
They had these same things.
Yeah, well, universal design.
Yeah, you set one on top of the other. You could carry it like that, and you would get the bread wouldn't get soggy. And usually the meat and the gravy that we would, sometimes fish would up in the very bottom. Yeah, serious meal.
I see. Very good. Very good. Very good. So, so you're in Dallas now.
We're in Dallas now. And we have this little mom and pop store that belonged to my uncle, and he was a preacher and a pharmacist, and he preferred the preaching. This guy was a pharmacist. He went to school somewhere in Ohio. One of the early Dallas black pharmacists, registered pharmacists. But he
Well, if you're not into drugs, you get more side benefits preaching.
This he made more money preaching, and he also whatever the other pluses are from preaching.
Yes. They're called deaconesses.
Yeah, right. He got that too. But I have to give this guy credit, man. I found him, with no disrespect in case some distant relative sees this, he was a real entrepreneur, hustler kind of guy.
Many preachers are.
Yeah, but he had this little drugstore, but he was also one of those preachers who went to a different town every Sunday. First Sunday, second Sunday.
I see.
So then my father joined him there, which we had to close the pharmacy. And I remember the little mortar and pestle thing over in the corner, and the little scale and all that. He just put that back and had a little dust cover on it. And it became then a store that sold over-the-counter drugs, ice cream, and the over-the-counter medical stuff, and all kinds of candy and all that.
Yeah.
And my brother and I took turns working a couple hours a day to give my father a break. But that's where I spent, let's see now. We got there in the summer of 1946. Now that's real clear. I'm not fuzzy on that. So the fall of that year, which would be September, I was at the elementary school, Julius C. Frazier, who was quite an important educator in Texas. Born in the 1860s and had done a lot of stuff. And they named the school after. It's still there, by the way. I look it up every now and then on the. I'm not big on this stuff, but sometimes I just punch in a bunch of stuff and it pops up.
Why are you so clear on that year?
Well, when I look back at some things that I still have from the 1946, I know it was the year that I started at Frazier. That means that helps me be more precise on what the year was that we left Mississippi.
Yes.
I think it was instead of 44, where I would have been 10, it's 45. So we would have left Mississippi in 45, come to California, and did all that trip around.
A lot of traveling.
That's right. We thought, what stupid is this, right?
Yeah.
Go all the way from Mississippi to LA and then cross country to Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
All in a car.
Yeah.
Right?
It's good he was a mechanic.
But there wasn't a minute's trouble.
Yeah.
This car was just.
Yeah.
But he was good at it. Forgot what I said. Anyway, I see now we didn't have middle school or junior high. So when I got there, I was in 6th grade. I spent 6, 7, and 8 at this elementary school. My brother went there only 1 year. Because he was in the 8th grade. See, he went, almost 3 years older. So he spent 1 year. He went on over to Abraham Lincoln High School, where I would go after 3 years at this elementary school, 6, 7, and 8. And my first year in high school, which was in the 9th grade, that's when I got the cornet.
And it was a cornet that put you on?
It was a silver tone Sears cornet.
Oh, Sears.
Sears
did a lot of stuff.
That was Sears' brand then. You could buy all of that out of the catalog and pay for it monthly.
Yeah.
You'd order it, and it comes in the mail, and I can hear my parents talking about, we bought this dining room suit, right? From Sears, and we paid $3 a month on it.
Yeah.
Until we paid for it.
Yeah.
That meant a lot to them, I work, I pay my bills. If I send for something from Sears and they look at and they pay their bills, you mail it to them.
Yeah,
right?
That's right. Yeah, they sold houses in that catalog.
Well, they sold everything, man. You got ice box, not refrigerator. Ice box. Musical instruments. You could buy a drum set.
Yeah.
Those old guitars. I can't think of what they didn't sell. Plumbing supplies. If you knew what you were ordering.
Yeah. Well, why was it the cornet? Was that your choice, or was it the band director's choice, or your parents' choice?
No, band director. At that point, I had nothing to do with him. I just heard the band rehearsing. The band met at. That's the last class of the day at the school. Whatever. It's like you have the 5th period, the first, second. I think that was 5th period class. When that was over the bell ring, and the yellow buses come and take us back to where we were from, unless you live near the high school, which we didn't. There was a guy right across the street from us. Now, it's typical black community. Church on one corner, like on the southwest corner. Our little store right across on the southeast corner. A black grocery store, very small. And then an Italian market on the other corner.
Interesting.
I can't think of the name, but I will in a minute here now. Urso. Father, son, his wife, and his children playing out in the yard someplace. And when I went
did they live there?
Oh, well, they didn't live in this area. They came in back. It was all black all around. They
I
got in
see.
their car and went home. I don't know where they lived, but
Uh-huh.
they, of course, depending on whatever money they made out of this, they could live anywhere they wanted in Dallas
Yeah.
if they had the money.
Yeah.
You know, a typical Italian family. But they were people who, as did Chinese in this in Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
came into the community, man, and had businesses. They had no
Yeah.
problem with dealing with black people.
Yeah.
You know, good relationship. You know,
Yeah.
they were never offensive. They never, said anything
Mm-hmm.
rank to anybody. You know.
Yeah.
And they always had at least one black guy working in the store.
Always good policy.
Oh yeah, just Urso. They had a guy that back working in the meat department.
Yeah.
And it was a big deal when I remember him. One guy that they had working at later on when I went back to visit. He's totally illiterate, but they showed him how to use a scale and weigh the meat. It was like he had an MA, man.
Yeah.
You know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a good policy.
Well, he's got a skill now.
Well, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. He got a
Yeah.
job. But right across the street now, there was a little black market on the other corner.
Mhm.
Supermarket, not supermarket, but
Yeah, a little general
little store
kind of thing.
that sold. It was smaller, and it stayed open on Sunday and late at night too when this other guy was gone. So
Uh-huh.
it was like a little convenience kind of store
I see.
where you
Yes.
could get milk and eggs
Yes.
and donuts and what do we do? Honey bun.
Honey
You
bun.
remember honey bun?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right.
Honey
Like
buns.
that.
Yeah.
But now
Did they
right.
have scooter pie then? Probably didn't have
Oh
scooter
yeah,
pies.
well we had what you call a stage plank.
Stage flank.
Now you know what a stage plank is when a boat pulls up. They pull that big board out where you can walk
Oh, okay.
ashore from that.
Yes.
Well,
This
there
is-
was a pastry
Uh-huh.
that had scalloped edges. That was a big piece of something like that. You can get something very much like it at Vaughn's now. It's in the shape of a little bear,
Uh-huh.
and it's not too sweet,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a pastry. So there are two of them. in
And
one
it's
pack.
iced or it comes
No,
with
not
chocolate?
just no nothing
Just
on
this-
it. But it was a nickel.
Uh-huh.
Stage plank.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's great
That's
name.
interesting. I'll look that up.
Right.
Yeah.
And they also sold what we called a goober steak. This is
Oh,
all
yeah.
sugar
Uh-huh.
with peanuts sitting in it.
Oh, I love those. You can still find those. They call them some kind of patty now. They're pink.
Peanut patty?
Yeah, peanut
But
patty.
we call them a goober steak.
Uh-huh.
You can get that.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
This is more fun than I thought.
I love those,
In
man.
fact, that's a lot of sugar, man.
It's all sugar except for the nuts.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
But right next to this guy, there's a shoe repair shop.
Uh-huh.
There's this black guy that has the machine in there.
Yeah.
You know, that you turn it on and his belts are running and he's
Yeah. Yeah.
And he put half sole or whole sole your shoes,
Yeah.
stitch them and all. And he went to whatever shoe repair school and on the GI Bill,
Mm-hmm.
and he also borrowed the money on the GI whatever to get that machinery.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember his first name, but his last name was Harden, Harden. When he didn't have anything, any customers or any work to do, he'd sit on the little porch right in front of it. It was almost like a western town where there's a little
Mhm.
porch extending there as the street,
I remember those.
right?
Yes.
Almost like Wyatt Earp's going to come
Yeah.
walking out of there. And he'd sit on the front porch playing the cornet,
Oh, I see.
right?
I see.
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And he'd be playing pop tunes. He didn't play any jazz.
Uh-huh.
He'd sit there and he'd play something. I remember he liked When They Begin the Begging. He knew it though.
Uh-huh.
Dee 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 dum dee dee dee. He had this rich sound.
Uh-huh.
But he played the same tune all the time. But he
Uh-huh.
knew a lot of those songs.
Yeah.
And I would go to sometimes just sit and watch him play. And it seems to me I've told this story to somebody recently because they were asking me about it, but it won't make any difference. And we're sitting there talking, and he played da 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 da.
Uh-huh.
My mama done told me so. I said, I can do that. He said, boy, you crazy. I
Uh-huh.
said, you have to learn how to play this one, man. I said, I can do that. I can see what you're doing there. You push
Uh-huh.
that one thing like that and you pucker.
Uh-huh.
Listen to me have one, I'll show you. And so he said, okay, you try it. I fumbled around with it, man, I'm sure for only about a minute.
Uh-huh.
But I could see the pucker.
Yeah.
And finally I got da 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 out of it, and he went down. Right? But it's
Whatever
just like
you will.
anything else. I just had a flair for it.
Yeah.
I could see what he was doing there and how it worked, and how the piston, on that first note wasn't in the piston, and you hit that and you let it go up.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when I first heard Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
It's like I understand what this guy is doing.
Yes.
I can't play it,
Mm-hmm.
but I understand what they're saying to us.
Yes.
I was just nuts.
Uh-huh.
Because I grew up listening to Duke. My father was a big fan of the swing band.
Uh-huh.
And on the radio, when I was a kid, you could turn on the radio any day of the week and you could hear a big band at night
Yeah.
from somewhere.
Yeah.
Even from coming from Chicago or
Live broadcast.
Live broadcast.
Yeah.
Even Duke Ellington was broadcasting from the Cotton Club in the late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But that was every night.
Yeah.
But we didn't get that. But we could hear Tommy Dorsey, Glenn Miller, and people like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that Glenn Miller band, even though Miller was dead.
Yeah.
During the week.
Mm-hmm.
And he liked those swing bands. My father knew he whistled those tunes.
Yeah.
And he played the clarinet and the piano.
Oh, he did.
An amateur there. He's a good singer.
Mm-hmm.
But I had heard all that stuff. And I liked it, but I didn't find anything, any message coming from it. When I heard the first bebop record I heard was Dexter Gordon and Fats Navarro. My scalp nearly came off, man. I don't know what it was. I just, it's like when I heard these guys playing, I thought, my God, I get it. It was like it was a foreign language that I never heard before, but I understand what they're saying.
Yes.
Yes. That's what pulled me into jazz. But when I got the cornet, I hadn't heard jazz yet.
Mm-hmm.
This was just like I can get in the band at school, but my high school had a band.
Yeah.
But I was already a freshman in high school, and I wasn't in the band program. So and the way I got the cornet from this guy, you're gonna love this. In addition to working in the store for my father, I threw the Dallas Morning News.
Yeah.
You get up about 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I had about.
Were you doing it on a bike or were you walking?
No, this is on foot.
On foot.
I didn't have a bike. Some kids used a bicycle, but you had, unless you were going to make several trips, you couldn't get that full bag on a bike and handle it.
Right.
Unless you had some kind of special bicycle.
Yeah.
I had about 100 papers, something like that. You get up and
So let me ask you: did you enlist? Because when I was a kid, the guys who had bike routes, they'd enlist some of the younger kids to help them roll the papers. And,
you see, when I did it, you walking and you roll the paper
as you
go. You learn how to go. You walking along, you go. I can still crimp it like that. You crimp it a certain way, and you just throw it. You don't go up in the yard. Throw it on the front porch.
Yeah.
So you don't have to stop and go up there. So I got that down. Everybody had it, man. You crimp it. You didn't have to put a rubber band on it if you know how to crimp it. And on rainy days, of course, you had to put that.
How thick a paper was this?
Dallas Morning News. But like the LA Times. The big paper. Sunday it was a monster.
Yeah.
It was 2 trips. But you know, at the end of the week when you went by, you had to collect the money.
Yes.
A lot of people wouldn't pay.
Yes.
I remember the lady said to me, I don't have the money. Santa Claus got your money, paper boy. I said, well, Santa Claus is gonna have your paper after this. You're not gonna get the paper Monday morning because I collected on Sunday.
Yeah.
I said
because you had to cover that.
I had to pay the bill. You always got enough to pay the bill, but you didn't have anything left if everybody didn't pay.
Right.
He said, Santa Claus got all the money this time. I said, you're gonna get Monday morning, you're not gonna have a paper.
Yeah.
But we like to read the paper in the morning, have our coffee. I get up at 4:30, 5 o'clock, man, you got to pay. And it was 35 cents is all they had to pay.
Yeah.
Some of them didn't have it, or they wouldn't pay. I was low on their list.
Yeah.
My father told me, he said, if they don't pay, son, don't give them the paper. Sometimes they'd be up and they'd see me coming. You have the paper? I said, no, you don't pay. I can't give you this paper. Sometimes they'd get up.
You probably got some look for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes they wanted to have a little kid, in the house who was about 14 or something. He said, Billy going to come out there and just take the paper. I said, well, then I just tell my father. You don't want to deal with him, do you? Right. I don't think you do.
That's a good move.
Right.
I guess that's a job the kids don't have nowadays, really.
No, nobody throws the paper. Man.
Hardly anyone gets the paper.
Well, a lot of kids who had the opportunity, nobody wants to get up. A job like that.
Yeah.
Because see, when you get back home, it's almost time to get up and get ready to go to school. You can maybe catch a little nap in there.
Yeah.
But I had the paper out, and I had bought myself a Boulevard watch. Now, Boulevard, that was a biggie.
Back then.
Oh, yeah, it sold for like, I don't know, $19.95, something like that. And you
big
pay,
money.
You pay $3 down on it, and you pay $1 a month or something like that. So whatever was the going rate, and I was responsible for that.
Yeah.
So this guy, I said, one day I said, I'll trade you my watch for that cornet. I didn't call it. I said trumpet. He said, he looked at the watch, and in those days you could get it had either a green or rose-colored crystal. You don't remember those, but that was real fashionable. It's a bull. That's just big time, right? I mean, this is what an adult would have, but I wanted one, so you pay for it with your own money. So he said, go ask your father if you can do it. I want to.
He wanted that, huh?
Oh, yeah, he wanted to watch.
I
guess he didn't care about the horn. It didn't mean a lot to him. It was beat up bad. but it was playable.
Yeah.
So I went to my house and I just made a U-turn around the back of the house. Came back. He said, okay. He didn't question it. I just took it off, gave it to me, give me the horn. And you know how those old cases, that inside is purple?
Yes.
It felt?
Yes.
It's got that smell?
Yes.
Right? And there's no place, it didn't fit that case. That was just a case that he had. And I put it in the case and I'm taking it back home. It's rolling around in there. As soon as I got back home, I said, I got to fasten this so it won't. And I didn't show it to my father at first. I had to figure out some kind of story to get in the house, you know. So I had a pair of old beat up skates that didn't work, and I took the skate strap. You know how the leather strap is?
Yeah.
We had those metal skates.
Yeah, the metal,
And
that would adjust. You could pull them in and out.
Right, well I took one of those straps and nailed it into the case so it would fasten and hold the trumpet in place, man. But I was just, I can't tell you, man, how just elated I was about the whole thing. I thought, God, man, I'm going to learn how to play this thing. This is going to be really great. And I had to learn about, I can't remember the story I gave my father now. I think I told him some story about this guy across the street, and I had worked out a deal where I could pay him to get this horn. And he saw the guy sitting on the front porch every day, and he somehow didn't take me to task over that. He hadn't noticed that my watch was missing, you know. I think he would have said, boy, you crazy?
Yeah.
You better get your butt back over there and get that watch back and get away. I can hear him now.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
You think he would have made you do it, or he would have just told you to think about it seriously?
I think he would have made me do it.
Really?
Because he would have thought I really got screwed, you know, with my new Bulba. Then he could have seen through the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just
He
said,
might have known, yeah.
Yeah, because the first time I dropped a marijuana cigarette on the floor, man, and I put my foot on it, my father didn't, he pretended he didn't see it. And I didn't find out till years later.
That he knew.
That he knew.
Yeah.
He said, but I realized then it'd be better for me to watch and see where that went, rather than to catch you with that.
Yeah, and push you.
And push you into some other place. He said, I just wanted to see where that would go. Because when I was a kid, you see, that was a jail thing. Police caught you with one marijuana cigarette. You're going to jail.
And how old were you then? Were you like in your teens?
Yeah, I was about 16,
16?
something like that. And you know, in our neighborhood now, there were guys who regular weed smokers, you know, the guys who don't go to church and everything, they tell you, now don't be caught with Big Son. You know the thing. And I don't want to see you talking to Bubba Love.
Yeah,
you know,
guys walking down the street.
Oh yeah, these guys all who dress nicely, and you never know where they got their money and all. You know? And nobody asked. But that one's called Big Son. Those called Bubba Love.
Bubba Love. We know who gave him that name.
Oh yeah, and then there's Blue Steel. It's a brother as black as that thing. Right. Gorgeous figure. But he's like gunmetal black.
Yeah.
Right, all these names. But these are the same guys now who in the neighborhood who often have a late model car.
Oh yeah.
And then you don't know, where's the job? Nobody says, you know, don't ask.
Yeah.
Right?
Better you don't know.
Well, right, but it's better that you don't ask.
Yeah.
So you won't be on the list of that people who something happens. Were you the one that told them?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
Because we were in a neighborhood where the police were looking for somebody that did something. They just put pressure on one dude that they think would fold. They said, like, listen, we know you stole those tires last year, but we just didn't have time to fool you. But now we go back and dig that up if you don't tell us who it is that broke into the liquor store.
Yeah.
And then they got you.
Yeah.
All they do is just get somebody and put squeeze on them, and they tell them, you know, that's the way it worked.
Yeah.
Unless you were really serious, stoic, they'd get what they wanted, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know what got me on that. But so then when I got this horn, I went to the band director and said, I want to take band classes.
Yeah.
He said, well, now you missed band 1, which is the fall. And I don't think your homeroom teacher's going to let you change what you've already elected now for the spring semester to come into band 2, which would prepare you for varsity band. I said, well, can I just come by at the end of the day and I get the band book?
Yeah.
And I just take it home and I can catch up. And he said, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that. I said, just let me
give me the chance.
Just give me a chance.
Yeah.
You know? But I was just nuts. You know? I remember, man, getting this little Rubank band book. Yeah. And it had this little fingering chart.
Easy steps to the band.
Exactly. Yeah. And I said, and so I asked the guy across the street to have something. I said, Wallace was his name, last name Harden, Wallace Harden. I said, Wallace, let me tell me about the fingering, which note is. Now, I already knew the names of the lines and spaces from the piano. And he played totally by ear. He couldn't read. He said, well, I can show you how to play da 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 da, but I don't know the names of any of those because I don't read music. I just play by ear. And so I said, well, you can't help me with this part, but you can help me when I have a question about this or whatever. And I had some questions for him, but he told me, he said, now some of those notes you can make with different fingering.
Yeah.
He said, one's sweeter than the other. That's what he meant to him.
Yes.
He said, when I play this note here, it's sweeter if I use it. Like he played that full space E, and he'd figured out that it was sweeter with the third valve than with first and second all open. And that's only like his ear.
Yeah.
He didn't know what alternate fingering meant. But the book had it, and I began to put two and two together, man.
He sounds like actually sort of a generous guy, because a lot of cats won't even give you that much. They might give you the horn, but they won't give you anything else.
Well, you see, he was, I guess, because he was like the shoe guy in the neighborhood. My father had his shoes repaired there.
Yeah.
Well,
I say that because, like when I played trumpet for a while. My first instrument was flute, then I went to trumpet, and
what was the first instrument?
Flute.
Flute.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes. Way different.
Yeah.
Way different. I did some journeys, getting to the tuba.
I'm just trying to picture you now with a flute, man. That was like at Charlie Hayden's memorial not too long ago. They asked some of us to get up and say a couple of words, and Butter Smith was there, and I was there. And not on stage, I was saying to somebody, well, Charlie was just, the bass was like part of his body or something.
Yeah.
And so I said, just think of Charlie Hayden with a tenor saxophone, and you just started laughing.
Yeah.
And we all was talking who said, it's hysterical, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to think of him holding a saxophone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, when I played trumpet, there was a family member that played trumpet that I lived next door to.
Oh.
But he wasn't very helpful.
Right.
He wasn't very helpful at all,
Didn't want to give it up.
Well, he didn't have much to give up, I know now.
Right.
But me, in comparison to him at the time, he had plenty to give up. And he was more into ridicule.
Right.
Than,
Well, that's family.
Yeah.
Right to stop you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, boy, you might as well quit. You're not going to do anything with it.
Yeah. Exactly.
I was reading this book on Bob Dylan, Robert Zimmerman. And one of his high school teachers said about him, this is one of the books about him, he said, that Zimmerman kid's never going to amount to a damn thing, is he? And there's a little cartoon with him looking back like this.
Yes. Well, folks, I feel folks need to be careful what they say to the young people.
Oh, especially an impressionable kid.
Yeah.
Because some kids would say, you said that to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
Well,
you almost have to be that kind of kid.
Yeah.
When
I came out of the military, I'm a grown man with a wife and 2 kids, and I was discharged from the military in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a wife and kids, and the closest college for me at that point was in Austin, University of Texas.
Yeah.
I had already been there when I was right out of high school, going to a black college because schools were still segregated. By 1950, God, is it 57 or 58? 58 when I got out, right? October of 58. The nearest thing for me was to go back to Austin. Well, I enrolled in the University of Texas. The black school I went to was still there, but it cost more money, and there was no scholarship or anything available except if you were a big fraternity guy. So I went to the University of Texas. The first thing I get from one of these guys in the music department, this guy says to me, he's a white guy, he said, I'm there in the music department, he introduces me to one of the other teachers, and I'm inquiring, he introduced me, he said to Miss Brown, this person, he's referring to me, is interested in being a music major here and everything. In the course of the conversation, finally he said to me, he said, now, Mr. Bradford, everybody wasn't meant to go to college.
Yeah.
And I just,
now you're a grown man.
I'm a grown man now, and I said, but even so, I said to myself, you said that to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
He said, if I had any doubts about this coming here, even though this is across town, you have just strengthened my resolve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you said this to the wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm already a full, mature adult now with a wife and kids, man. Was past being bothered by something like that, but that, I knew where he was coming from there. He would like for me to have said, oh, you're right, this is too hard, I can't come here.
Yeah.
Because there were only 3 black students in the music department at the University of Texas there. Myself, one woman from, I think, Hearn, Texas, and one black man, about a very tall guy that played the euphonium. Beautiful sound.
Beautiful sound,
Oh yeah.
but a somewhat worthless instrument.
Yeah, but he
But don't
played
get me
for-
going.
And they had a symphonic band.
Uh-huh.
I remember them playing one piece that featured a euphonium. Man, you talk
Uh-huh.
about it. This guy, and he played over here too.
Uh-huh. To the side.
Oh
yeah.
boy, but there was no denying it. He was
Mhm.
just like an Italian tenor coming
Uh-huh.
through that euphonium.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful.
Very interesting.
There were only 3 of us in the department.
Uh-huh.
I remember that very well.
You know, Mr. Bradford, we do these sessions for an hour,
That's okay.
and we've hit them. We've hit the hour,
Right.
and we've hardly gotten started. But that's okay. We can do another one at another time if you'd be so kind
Oh, I'd love to do it.
as to join us.
There are some things I haven't thought about in years as we speak. And
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to. Everything comes back to the music, so we don't have to talk about the music directly.
That's right.
You know.
And next time we'll talk about how the music is obliquely related to all of that.
Yes.
Or vice versa.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Okay. Well, then we will call it a day today,
Right.
and we thank you very much.
My pleasure.
And if we ever have viewers, they'll enjoy it too.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Maybe somebody in Mississippi will say, I knew his parents.
Yeah.
Right? I knew those Bradfords.
Yeah. I'm glad they left.
Right.
All right. Fantastic.
I'm gonna have another here. This is
Oh,
great
yeah.
stuff, man. Where do I buy this?
In Chinatown,
Xiao Chi.
I can get a couple bottles for you.
Yeah, I'll be happy
Yeah.
to pay you.
Yeah.
Herbal beverage concentrate.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what's in it? Though I don't care.
It's on the box. It's
Oh.
many ingredients.
Right.
It's like tons of ingredients. And I have in my life, because I am who I am,